Hey, welcome to the Daycare podcast. This is your host, Mr. Nipples and Nick, and today we have our guest, Brandon Allen, on, and he's going to talk about some good organizations today. So let's get it started, boys.
Alrighty. First off, I want to say sorry. About the whole mix-up with him on the field prop and missing the last episode. So,
Oh, no worries. No worries.
alrighty. So, I hear that you guys are doing a lot of good work empowering vets to basically get back in the community and find themselves after service.
Yes. We are starting this program up. It's actually in its infancy stages, but we have a huge view for this program.
I already talked to, I don't know if you've heard any of our other shows, but Jose Belen with Mission Zero Actual out of Florida.
Yes.
He is looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Okay.
He is excited. He likes anything that gets vets back on their feet, and any way that helps guys get themselves straightened out without having to use drugs.
Yes, that's kind of what we do here. I agree with you on the drugs part. Not putting veterans on pills and zombieing them out. I was, in fact, myself, I went that route when I first got out, and it was the worst thing I ever did.
Yeah, I'm down to one pill myself, so it's I'm getting there. I'm waiting for my medical card to be able to get myself off this last one.
We, unfortunately, here in Louisiana, we don't have any medical programs yet.
Not yet, but from what I understand, it's coming up on a vote here in November.
Yes, it is.
And I have a couple friends down there that are highly active in the push because of the benefits.
Yes, the benefits are great. I've lived in Colorado. I've lived in Oregon. I've lived in Washington State. I have seen it work myself. But anyways.
Well, that's just it. We'll talk about anything and everything, and tell us how the program's going to be structured, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, so the Service After Service program is through an organization, a nonprofit organization called United Saints Recovery Project. And the United Saints Recovery Project actually started in December 2005 after Hurricane Katrina hit. It actually started with a couple of dudes in a tent at the corner of Dryads and First Street here in New Orleans, right in front of the church, just trying to help after Katrina. And it's grown into this huge nonprofit organization from there. The United Saints has either rebuilt or remodeled over 250 houses in that time frame. They are not state funded at all. They get their money.
Wow.
Yeah, they get their money through college volunteers. So these colleges such as University of Alabama, Auburn, Virginia Tech, University of Texas, just to name a few, send these kids out, and we get our money through their fees for housing and food, and then what we do is provide a positive volunteer experience for them, teaching them things that a lot of them have never done in their life before, and they get to see things that a lot of them have never seen in their life before. So anyways, they've done amazing things for the community. The community where we are located, they actually have rebuilt the whole community since Katrina, and it has actually contributed to the crime rate in the neighborhood going down.
That has been proven
That has been proven. So it's and it's pretty cool because the people around, if they hear that you're with United Saints here in New Orleans, they know what United Saints is, and you get respect just right off the bat because of it. This city loves United Saints. We're actually one of, I believe Chris said, only 2 active nonprofits still doing this in the city.
Wow, that's sad.
A lot of them just flamed out. A lot of them were in it for the wrong reasons. He was telling me about one just 2 days ago. Chris is the executive director, by the way. He
Yeah,
was telling
he
me.
hit us up.
Say again.
He sent us a few messages. We've talked. So
Yeah. He was telling me just the other day about an organization that had gotten their 3-year check from United Way and pretty much just became a ghost organization just so that they could get the money. Our organization doesn't do that. We don't have any state or federal assistance whatsoever. So it's a really cool deal to be a part of. Now, the Service After Service program was created by a team leader named Stephen Jones about 3 years ago. So the deal with Stephen is he was infantry when he was in the Army. He deployed to Afghanistan. He got out and he felt he had no purpose, basically. He's told me a little of his story that I can share with y'all. You know, he was just sitting on his couch every single day.
don't share too much because we're actually going to be getting him on the show.
Awesome. But he ended up going down when Harvey happened, and that's where he met up with United Saints. And once he got in with the Saints, he came out to New Orleans, and he ended up setting up this program. He was actually the first member of the program he set up, obviously, for the past 3 years. And so the way Stephen and I met was back in probably, I would say March, I think it was. We are both a member of a Facebook page for grunts called Brotherhood of the Bayonet. I just posted something on there about, like, you know, feeling I haven't done a great job since I've been out of the military, and basically feeling I was purposeless. And he privately hit me up on a message and started telling me about his program and said he wanted me to come down and be a part. And I thought about it for a few days, and I said, you know what, I'm not really doing anything here in Colorado. Why not? And so I packed up and I moved from Colorado to New Orleans. And it's probably one of the best things I did for me because I was in a bad spot still. I was infantry myself. I spent 7 years in the Army. I got out in 2012. And I've kind of gotten nowhere since I've gotten out. First, I had to heal, which that was a long process. It was a very long process. Some of it did involve medical marijuana. Some of it involved other substances that I shouldn't have involved.
I get it. I understand. I'm a drunk, so I get
Yeah,
it.
I was a drunk for a long time. All through my military career, I was a drunk. Even after my military career, and one thing I found out is the alcohol just wasn't working for me anymore.
It actually triggers a part of the brain, and it actually exasperates what's wrong.
Exactly.
And that's why you have to drink until you pass out. But then you have.
With me, it just brings out the aggressiveness.
Oh yeah, it does do that.
I get uber aggressive, and I'm fighting, to include cops if they get in my way. I'm fighting anybody and everybody. It's me. When I'm drinking, it's me against the world, except for my boys that are there with me. And you know, I see where that comes from, and doing research and everything, I understand exactly where it comes from, and
well, you know,
I just can't mess with alcohol.
We talk about that stuff on the air because a lot of guys don't understand, you know, that the drinking is part of the problem.
Yes, it very much so is. I believe it's a huge part of the problem. I think once I started getting sober, that's when I was able to start healing. Now, during this time in Florida that I spent healing, I still did smoke. I do not see anything wrong with marijuana. I think marijuana is a great thing for PTSD, and a great way to get through your issues.
To clarify, for right now, any member of the program does have to piss clean because it's not legal in the state.
Yes. So the program is a sober program. It is a completely sober program. No marijuana, no alcohol, no any type of substance whatsoever.
Now, if it passes as a medication in Louisiana, will the program alter?
Stephen and I have had a conversation about this. Um, I can't really talk too much about it, to be
I
honest.
get it. I get it. As long
Um,
as it's being discussed,
yes, it's
that's
being
something.
discussed. I will say that much. It is being discussed, and you know, I will say my views on it are not hard, and neither are Stephen's.
But the
Once
program
again,
itself,
this program is in its infancy stages.
yeah.
So,
But the
we are
mother program's going to have their say in it too, which I understand. So
exactly. So this kind of comes full circle in a way with all the other programs. Once again, I can't really, I'm not at liberty to discuss
no,
our
no, no, and that's
discussions, but
fine.
what I can say is there's not a harsh view towards it. And I
And
think that's as much as I can say about it right now. But as of right now, this is a completely sober program. And
which I can appreciate.
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, marijuana is right now completely illegal in Louisiana, so we couldn't even have that discussion right now as is.
No, and that's totally fair. I was
Yeah,
wondering for the guys out there listening that are, we're
no,
getting their attention. So
yeah, no, it's definitely being discussed. It's something that's definitely being discussed. You
I
know,
want to
go ahead.
I want to give you guys props for that. That's more than a lot of places will do right now.
Yeah, it's it's a tight subject to walk, I guess you could
It
say.
is.
And I don't see the harm in it as far as personally. I'm not talking about this is not coming from the program. This is
No,
coming
I get
from
it.
me.
This is totally you.
Yeah, I don't see harm in medical marijuana or even recreational marijuana for that matter. I've been in states where I've seen it work. I've seen it do amazing things. I do understand where some of the uneducated fears come from, though.
I can also understand when it comes to safety issues on something
Yes,
like a construction site. So I get it.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if once again, if marijuana is legalized and somehow this program does allow that to come into fruition, one of the deals will be absolutely not
No
gonna
use on
work.
site. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is construction, so but we are not there yet, unfortunately. It is illegal, and this program as of right now is a completely sober program.
Which
There are discussions, though. That's.
okay. I
I'm
will
gonna leave
shoot.
it at that. I've probably said too much, so.
No, no, no. It's all
Um,
right. I will. I'll shoot you some messages, some information after the show about what Belen's doing
yeah,
with his lawsuits and stuff, and it's looking good. I'll just tell you that much.
absolutely. I'd like to hear that. I think any state that doesn't have it legalized is
Oh,
doing a
he's going
disservice to
federal.
them.
He's taking on the Attorney General of the U.S.
Oh, that's good stuff right there. That's good stuff right there. I like that. Um, I mean, beyond the medical factor, I mean, they could completely take us out of debt, I believe. But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Tell me
Anyways,
how.
back to the service after service program. So, um, once I was in Florida, I did my healing and everything, and it took a couple of years of some hard work with the VA and some hard work with just myself.
Yeah,
And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I went through some very, very hard times, and I do not recommend people to take the route I did because a lot of the way I did it was self-education and using the VA for their education on how PTSD manifests itself. I dealt with a lot of the stuff on my own and self-education. And there were some very, very dark times. Having to bring up memories I didn't want to bring up and having to deal with things I didn't want to deal with. But once I got through that, with the help through VA, I moved on to Oregon to help my buddy with his farm that he had started up in Oregon, and it was probably the first time I'd felt some kind of purpose since I'd been out of the military. Um, Unfortunately, the farm ended up not making it because he started his farm a little too late. Before first harvest, the market was already saturated in Oregon.
yeah.
It saturated pretty dang fast up there, and the farm went under. There was no saving it. So I moved on. I did some work in Washington, ended up moving to Colorado, doing some work there, and that's when I met Steven. Um, Still just feeling like I had no purpose. And like I said, we had the conversation while I was in Colorado. He asked me to come out, so I came out. Um, and it was probably the best thing I've done for myself. I've already worked on 2 projects here, um, remodeling houses that were one was affected by Katrina, the other was affected by a tornado that happened a few years back. Plus, after that, her house caught on fire.
Oh,
Yeah, she has some bad luck. That house was cursed. I
Yeah,
want
the
to
house is not having a good time at all.
say.
Things getting
So
beat up.
I actually got to meet her during one day while we were doing the project, and you want to talk about goosebumps? That was a goosebump producing moment. Getting to hear her gratitude and getting hugs from her and stuff like that, and just seeing the raw emotion and seeing the fruits of my labor, basically, of what I was doing there. Um, so this
that's
program,
outstanding.
oh man, it was amazing. So this program is a really good thing, and what they do, like I said, is they rebuild houses. The United States, which the service after service is through, they rebuild houses for people that were affected by natural disasters that didn't have homeowners insurance. And one thing you'll find out here in New Orleans is there's a lot of poverty in the city, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
9 billion in tourism a year, but the city sees none of it. It unfortunately goes through the pockets of, you know, politicians,
well,
and
yeah,
it's sad, and you see it when you get out here, real quick. And so what you find out is a lot of homeowners they don't have homeowner insurance. So when Katrina came through, there was no way for these people to rebuild their houses. And there was a bunch of contractors that came through that screwed people over completely. And there were some nonprofits that screwed people over.
yeah.
Um,
I've
and
actually
so,
got friends that live down there, and one of them, I'm not going to say his name. I'm just going to use his tag, his Iron Nurse, and they got messed over pretty bad when everything went down. So
yeah, no, it's a lot of sad stuff you see, and we're still. I mean, Lower Ninth Ward is pretty much still all abandoned. That was the hardest hit, and we're talking. This was 2005. It's 2019 now. We're talking 14 years later.
yeah,
We're still working on houses that were affected by Katrina. So, you're still seeing the effects from that awful storm. And then just this past weekend, I got to see the city's anxiety that still exists from Katrina, as Hurricane Barry was moving in. This whole city was pretty anxious about that, and thankfully Barry wasn't much. There were some coastal cities in Louisiana that got a little flooding, but there was nothing major from Barry, thankfully. But this city was very concerned, and once the worst had passed, it was pretty cool going out into the streets and seeing how the residents of the city were so happy because that anxiety was over. There were fireworks. There were people just, hey, we dodged another one. Da, da, da. It was just pure excitement in the city, and it came from a place of pure anxiety before. And so it was quite interesting to see how still 14 years later, how Katrina still affects the city and still affects the residents through it. And there are a lot of people who live here still with PTSD from Katrina. That was a very bad storm for the city. And there's still abandoned buildings and whole neighborhoods that people don't live in. And it's really sad to see. I came to New Orleans as a kid, so I remember what New Orleans used to be like, and it is different. It is different.
unless I'm mistaken, there's still people that are missing
But
from
yes,
Katrina.
there are still people that are missing, and some of the stories I've heard since I've moved here and lived here, just sad things that had happened right after the storm, and that there's still things going on now. It's quite insane, actually. 14 years later. I mean, we're not talking. This was just a couple of years ago. We're talking 14 years later. So.
Yeah, that's
Um,
almost an entire career.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know it's insane, but it's a really good feeling, and it has given me. I've only been here a month now, and it has given me purpose back. It's like it's breathed new life into me.
All right,
Um,
let's. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
Let's talk about how what a veteran does in the program. I
So
know that they're
yeah,
involved overseeing, but like, what's a normal day for?
so the way that the idea we have right now, we're gonna have 2 to 3 open spots here in early fall to bring in new members. Um, that's our hope is early fall. It will be 2 to 3 vets. And the way it's gonna work is the first few months will be skill training basically. Now, if we get somebody that comes in that has the skills that's already there, then that's bonus. So what we will do, we'll do some skill training. And now how this works is there will be they will eventually be team leaders through this program. Now, this program is a non-paying program. There won't be any wages paid, but housing is going to be completely free. And so the way this is going to work, the vets will end up being team leaders for the college volunteers coming in. And volunteer season is roughly November through March-ish, um, and give or take on both ends. Um, during during peak volunteer um, during peak volunteer time, it is 7 days, 7 days a week that we work, and after peak it's 5 days, and there will be 2 to 3 week stretches with downtime in between. So these college volunteers will come in. We will team lead, and basically all we're trying to do is make sure they're safe. Um, Make sure they're having a good time, basically, and try to teach them some things. When the volunteers are in, that's from what I understand, that's not when the majority of the construction's taking place, because we really can't have college volunteers
Yeah.
building houses that don't know what they're doing. But it's things that they can do, from what I'm understood. Like I said, I'm new to this program too, so I'm learning as I go too. Um, but what we're trying to do, we're trying to set the veteran up for success in his or her civilian life. We create a place of refuge for a little while. We also help provide the veteran with every veteran service available to us. We have a few services available to us. There is one that I am talking to right now and trying to set that up also, that is in Texas. If we need to send a vet who is just not there yet out to Texas for this. I'm not going to mention them yet because we're just in talks right now. Um, Another place we do have set up is Bastion Community of Resilience. They are a veteran housing facility, and they basically get the vet back onto a path of normalcy, and that is a great option for after they complete the program. Um, Now, like I said, the first few months will be skill training, and then we will be making them assistant team lead until they are ready to be a team leader on their own, and that will start around January if they're coming in early fall. Um, and basically, I mean, it's just getting back into the civilian life and kind of having a purpose again, leading these volunteers, these college volunteers. Um, it's from what I hear, it's a very amazing thing to lead these volunteers because these are things that they've never done in their life and things most of them have never seen in their life. From what I hear, a lot of them are sheltered growing up. So they come out here and they really get a appreciation for kind of a different way of life and different things that have happened. And Stephen has said it's amazing when you see that light bulb click with them.
I think it's.
They're
Well,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say I think it's like super important, especially with like nowadays with like college students and such, like to get a good sense of community. I
Yeah,
honestly think that's super helpful with that.
yeah, and yeah, we like I said, they've been doing it for 14 years. They've had over 12,000 volunteers come through from college and high school. So this is something that they've been doing for a while, and it really, some of the beds in here in the volunteer housing have messages written on it, and mean, you start reading the messages and you start seeing how having this sense of community had an impact on these college students. So it's really, really cool. Um, Now, with the veterans, not only will they be team leading, there also will be opportunities for employment if they are what the organization is looking for. Now, with this being a nonprofit, non-state, non-federal funded, the wages aren't the best in the world. This isn't something working for United States that you're definitely going to make a career out of. But it's definitely something that can be a good thing for the right individuals who want to continue after the program. Um, One thing about it is you're going to have to love helping other people. I understand that this program's not going to be for every veteran out there, unfortunately. We do have some requirements. One being that you've been through an inpatient facility, be it for PTSD or substance abuse. That is a big one. Another one is that you have had some sustained sobriety before you get to us. And once again, this is a sober program, as we talked about in the beginning. So we do understand that, unfortunately, this is not going to be for every veteran out there. If we get to that point where during the program, if we can expand the program, then we absolutely will. But as of right now, those are the guidelines, and those are non-negotiable, unfortunately.
Which I can appreciate that being, like I said, I'm a drunk. I am. I've been sober since '08, but I can appreciate the need for the sobriety.
Well, I think, and this is my personal experience, not much healing can happen when you're still in the bottle. It really can't. It brings up way too much. It's a depressant, which depression and PTSD go hand in hand, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I just, some people can drink and some people can, unfortunately. And in my personal experience, I've been out of the military for 7 years. I've been fighting this for a long time. And in my personal experience, alcohol did nothing good for me. Not with PTSD, I had a fun time in the military, don't get me wrong, but even in the military, before I had admitted I had PTSD, and I was still going out, near the end of my military career, it got really bad. Really, really, really bad. I was not a fun drunk anymore. I was that dude who fought everybody, including my own boys at that point in time.
Yeah.
I was fighting. I was going out every night, and I was fighting every night. And it just, it wasn't conducive to my situation. It was very counterproductive. And then once I admitted I had PTSD, I was in the military when that stigma was still hardcore there. PTSD doesn't exist. You're weak. Yada yada yada. And in the infantry, during those times, it was almost a career killer, especially at the beginning of my career. So, I got out of the military still believing that stigma until I finally realized, I got to get over this stigma because I'm losing my fucking mind. And I was, and I was getting nowhere in life. Failed relationships, be it family, personal, romantic, whatever. The nightmares, just everything. My whole life was a mess, and alcohol was just making it worse. And once I finally quit drinking and started trying to get help, that's when my life started getting better. It wasn't easy because of all the years I didn't get help. That made it a lot harder, and I'm telling you right now, if you're out there struggling and trying to do this alone, don't. Because you're only, in my experience, I only delayed the bad times, and it made it a lot harder to start healing. I wish I would have gotten help from the first signs of trouble. So if you're out there and you're struggling alone, trust me, I get it. But it does get better. But you have to seek help, and if you're drinking, I strongly recommend looking at that if you really want to get better. And that's just my personal experience. I'm never going to speak for anybody else, and I'm never going to try to tell somebody what to do. I can only say what helped for me.
I just gotta, your story is bringing up something that a close friend of mine, a very very wise man, actually shared today, and it's your story is ringing very true. It's don't be afraid to share your story. It could be the key to unlock somebody else's prison.
Absolutely, absolutely. For a little bit, I was a little ashamed of, once again, there's that stigma I had to deal with. I was a little bit ashamed admitting I was different, and I didn't talk. I didn't talk about the dark parts of it even once I started admitting. Today I'll talk about everything. I've had a suicide attempt. Um, Hell, even today, being healed, and I think this is a part that will always be there. I'm not going to sit here and say PTSD goes away. I'm going to say you learn, in my experience, you learn how to cope with it. You learn positive coping tools and positive ways to deal with it. I still have my bad days, and I always will. And even to this day, I still have some dark thoughts. It doesn't mean I give in to them these days. I understand that they're there, and I continue getting help too. I'm still working with the VA. This is going to be a lifelong deal. That I do understand.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. It truly is.
No,
You're gonna have great days where you're gonna think, "Hey, I'm
yeah,
out of the storm," and
yeah,
then the next morning you wake up and it's punched you in the face and you don't want to move.
exactly. And I think that's one good thing with this program. I was having some dark days still in Colorado, even though I've come this far. I was still having some dark days in Colorado, and coming to this program, I have something to look forward to every day, and that's helping somebody. Um, it's getting out of my own way and helping somebody else. I'm not going to say I don't have a dark day here or there. I absolutely do still. The second week I was here, it was a dark week for me, but I still got my ass out of bed and went to work and, you know, did my thing. And at the end of the day, I felt better. And I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, one day in front of the next day. And next thing I knew, guess what? The storm had passed. I think I personally believe this program is going to do amazing things
I think so.
for the people that come here, as
You're giving
long
us,
as they are willing to follow the rules and willing to be able to better themselves. We don't babysit here. That's one thing that is not going to happen. This isn't an inpatient program. That's why we kind of require the inpatient program and a little bit of sustained sobriety, because there is no babysitting here. And I will say this, New Orleans is a hard place to get sober in, and that's why we require a little sustained sobriety, because trying to get sober in New Orleans is it's very hard. New Orleans is a party city. It doesn't mean you can't have fun here sober. I've had plenty of fun here sober, but I don't think, and the program and the organization doesn't think it's the best place to try to sober up at.
I
Um,
would agree. Yeah, that is a very very hard thing to do.
oh,
Yeah,
it is. It absolutely is. I won't lie on that. I didn't want to let alcohol go when I had to. I definitely didn't, but I knew I had to. I did, but I didn't, if that makes sense.
yeah, I get it. I ended up in the ER 3 times from
Yeah,
withdrawal symptoms, and
yeah,
then they put me in inpatient, and yeah, it's not
yeah.
fun.
No, it's not. I used to wonder, how am I going to have fun without alcohol? Because all I had known was having fun with alcohol.
Yeah,
I was a drunk. That's all I did was drink. Um, that was one of my biggest fears. And, being sober for a while now, I've found how to have fun without alcohol. I,
you look back and you wonder how the hell you did what you
it,
did and how you're
that's
still
exactly
alive.
what I was about to say. Yeah, I was just looking for the words to put it how you put it. Um, no, I look back and I'm like, well, how was I only having fun with alcohol? Why didn't I stop and smell the roses at some point in time?
Yeah.
Germany,
Oh, I love
that was my
Germany.
first duty station, 18 years old. I don't remember most of Germany, man. It's so sad to say because all I did was drink. I was 18 in Germany, like let's party it up. Um, I wish I would have stopped and smelled the roses when I was in Germany. I don't even have pictures of Germany, damn it.
Oh, I got so many pictures, man. It's ridiculous.
I was too busy drinking and chasing ass, so you know.
No, I did both. I married a German.
That's actually a good woman to marry. But you know, I don't know how I did what I did, like you said. I really don't. But you know, if you're out there struggling and struggling with wanting to stop but not knowing how to, I'm just telling you, I was in the same boat before, and it can and will be done. You just have to want it, and it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine up your shorts, but it can be done, and it's a much better life. I promise you that.
The truth is, you're going to fail 4 or 5 times before you succeed at it, too.
Oh, yeah, and you know, we've already talked about that. You're not truly starting the road to recovery until you have a relapse, you know. You got to have that first relapse before you can say you're in recovery. I don't know anybody who has gone down that road without fallen off the wagon at least once. Not my personal experience. Maybe there are stories out there, people who quit cold turkey and never touched it again a day in their life, and kudos to those. I'm not one of them. I'll tell you that right now. And I don't personally know anybody who has done that.
But I'll tell you, once you succeed, your willpower will be stronger than anything you ever knew you had.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, let's get back to the program. We kind of got off on a sidebar again. This is what happens on the show. We talk and we end up in sidebars all over the place.
It was a good sidebar, though.
That's actually my way of conversation, so I'm right at home right now.
I think that's what every vet does. We just kind of ramble until we find what we're looking for.
Exactly.
What is the application process, and is there an interview process, or?
Well, we haven't gotten there yet, but I will say, me or Steven. Go through Steven or I. For right now, this is something we have to come up with, the application process. The interview process will probably just be talking to Steven or myself and us laying down the rules and seeing, just kind of getting a vibe of the person and seeing what they're about. You know, once again, I know I've said this a couple of times already, but we are in the infancy stages of this program, so it's going to be a little bit kind of live and learn type deal. So we haven't came up with an official application process or an interview process yet. The way I was interviewed was Steven and I talked through Messenger, just writing messages back and forth to each other for a good 3 or 4 days. And then he realized, you know, I was what he was looking for. And, you know, he put me in this position to help build this program. And he told me that before I even came out, that was his idea of having me come out. He, you know, we would talk more about it when I got out here, and he got to learn me a little bit more. Steven and I bonded from the get-go, both being vets, both being former infantry, both being sober. We bonded right away, and you know, from there it's been a great relationship. Steven's a good dude, man, and I'm just honored he has put me in a position to help build this thing and, you know, help get this thing started and running off the ground. That, you know, I was part of a startup nonprofit that just kind of didn't make it due to not the nonprofit's fault, but due to some other outside sources.
That happens.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, I got really excited about that because of my background of dealing with PTSD and my suicide attempt and how hard it was for me to get through, and my pride being I really wanted to do it on my own and not accept all the help I could have accepted. I did accept some help, but it could have been a lot easier on myself, but I'm a very stubborn, prideful person, so, you know, whatever. And, you know, it was an organization of one of my buddies who did take his life. He lost his life with the PTSD, and so it was an organization. He was the reason for that organization to start up. It was started up by his dad. And it really excited me to get a chance to help veterans that were in my spot because, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. And, I just wanted to help other veterans out there that were in my shoes, that were in the same boat as me, and show them the light and show them that, hey, it does get better. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out. And that's okay, because that happens. It had nothing to do with Darby's dad at all. Once again, it was outside circumstances, and it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And, so I went on my way. And I've always wanted to help veterans. So it was really cool to be put in a spot like this, 4 years later. So this is obviously the nonprofit organization that is starting the service after service program is already well established. So it's all about getting the service after service program. And the executive director of United Saints, Chris, he has big plans for this for the service after service program. He would like to make the United Saints a year-round deal. Right now, like I said, because of the volunteers were really only running on all cylinders November through March-ish. The service after service program could be the key to running this year-round. And there will be if there are mental health days. That's one of the first things I talked with Stephen about. Like, hey, this because you have PTSD, but I may have a bad day. What happens in that instance? He's like, oh, that's no problem. You take the day off. You take a mental health day. And so I haven't had to take one since I've been out here, but knowing that that's there, that brings some comfort to me, because one of the problems I ran into in the civilian world after I got out is I would have one of those stormy-ass days or even stormy-ass weeks where I couldn't get out of bed. And I lost a lot of damn jobs because of that.
But see, having that brotherhood there, the brotherhood that we evolve
Yes.
and develop in the service,
Yes.
we lose that, and that's part of what hits us so hard.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're on your own, and
Absolutely. That was, I tried my best to make civilian friends and shit when I got out, but it just isn't the same. The brotherhood ain't there, and I think I think you made a very valid point there. That was one thing that has been really hard on me, is not having that brotherhood. Always having it there. I mean, I was in the Army from 18 to 25, so the beginning of my adult life, that was all I fucking knew, was that brotherhood. And then to have that gone, and then, don't get me wrong, I have a few civilian friends out there that, man, they're great people, but for the most, I really don't try to make friends with civilians anymore. I found out that's just not, they just don't see friendship like I do, and I truly believe that's because of the brotherhood. I saw a different type of friendship. And so that's another good thing about this. Another thing that will be amazing about this program is there's going to be that brotherhood. Right now, Steven is gone. Him and his wife Caitlin had a baby. I believe.
Well, congratulations.
Me. Yep. Hey, Steven. I hope all is still well. So he's in Texas right now.
Congrats.
Him and his wife. His wife is actually stationed at Fort Polk, but they went back to Texas, something with the hospital at Fort Polk. I don't know the whole story. So they went back to Texas to have the baby, and they just had it last week. So they're out in Texas. So I'm here alone right now, and I can deal with that because I've done this for 7 years.
I've actually got a lot of brothers down in Louisiana. If you need some names, some guys to talk to, I can shoot you some names.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. It'd just be cool to have that list, have somebody to reach out to, have somebody maybe to hang out with, because everybody wants to fucking drink in this town. But, I'm all right.
Look at the
with
town
whole...
you're in. That's a rough one.
Oh, yeah. That's why there has to be sobriety before you come here, because I don't think getting sober in this town works.
I live in the second drunkest state in the Union.
I don't even know if that's possible. Louisiana's lit, especially New Orleans. My God.
My goodness.
Yeah, but see, that's localized. I'm telling you, according to the U.S. Department of Health and the U.S. Department of Transportation. This state is the second drunkest state in the union.
And which state is that?
I'm not saying because I don't
Okay.
want crazies coming up here.
I live in the first.
No, that makes sense.
I live in number one, baby. We're the champions.
Actually, Wisconsin's number one.
Are they really?
Yes, they are.
I thought we were. Well, I think cities wise we are.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
statewide, and we have one of the lowest populations in the union, believe it or
Oh
not.
my.
We drink the second most amount of alcohol.
Wait, so Mr. Nipples, the
Yes.
the picture you took of fireworks, were you on the Mississippi for that?
No.
Oh, that was Cutter.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Cutter. Okay. I thought that was Mr. Nipples.
No,
Was
No.
he on the Mississippi for that?
No, he was on one of the Great Lakes.
Okay. He
He's
kind of looked familiar.
he's
So
the Coast Guard stationed up there by Chicago.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
Oh, no problem.
No,
thought about
no, not a problem at all. Real quick, as far as the program goes, is there
Yeah.
a physical? Since we are talking about veterans here, and
Yeah.
we know the consequences of that. Are there physical limitations for the program, or?
We really haven't gone over that. I mean, not too much. I mean, if you can't do construction, you probably can't do the program because this is construction. But I mean,
I know a lot of guys that can do a whole lot more with one arm than they can.
oh yeah,
a lot of people can do it too.
no, absolutely. We're not going to discriminate if you're missing limbs or anything. If you can do the job, you can do the job, man. I mean, we have one of the guys that works with us. He's not part of the service after service program. He just kind of volunteers his time to the organization. He's an old Vietnam vet, man, and he just really has the knowledge, and he just stands around and gives his knowledge. So, I mean,
That's so much love for those brothers.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. They had it so hard, unfortunately, coming home. Definitely didn't have the support we have.
Not to mention going through actual hell.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But we have one of our team leaders actually. He's in his 60s now, and there's not much he can do physically. He will try though, because he's a very tough man. But he has a lot of knowledge too. So there isn't limitations as far as physicality. I mean, you got one arm, you got one leg, cool. That's not going to disqualify you for the program at all.
We had to get that out there because I know there's a lot of programs that have been turning down a lot of vets because they're missing an arm or they're missing a leg or they're missing an eye because they say you're not qualified to do the job, and
No.
there's a lot of guys out there that are being left behind because of the fact that they did serve and what happened to them.
We haven't had that conversation yet, but I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm going to say right now I don't foresee that being an issue at all.
Okay.
And I will eat crow if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not going to have to eat crow on that, so let's put it that way. No, the biggest deal with the service after service program is trying to get these veterans, such as myself, such as Steven, that were in these holes that they just didn't see an end to, and we know where these holes lead to, that were in these holes that they didn't see an end to, and taking them out of that hole and giving them purpose again, and breathing that breath back into them, giving them that brotherhood again, giving them that sense of belonging again, because the civilian world after you get out, it's tough, man, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. And if you're listening and you're feeling that way, don't be ashamed if you're feeling that way. It's a fucked up world out here, man.
For a long time, I worked a shitty job at AFES.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: Did that help at all? I mean, maybe.
Fuck no.
No, being around it didn't help at all.
After I got out, I worked in like an oil job where we basically go from gas station to gas station or anything that had to do with gasoline. Like we installed 50,000 gallon tanks at the Asheville Hospital. I don't know. Working that job helped me a lot because I just worked with my hands. It just gave me something to do,
Yeah, exactly.
Then how'd you end up back in, Nipples?
I was reserve the whole time. Reserve's just like I don't know. You're only there once a month, so it's like. But going from active to that was it was kind of rough because like you're doing stuff all the time and you're engaged.
Yeah.
to nothing at all, and you don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since I
No,
went right out of
it's
high school, so I had like no other like facets to focus on. So it
No
was
job
pretty. It was
experience.
yeah,
no,
nothing at all.
it's
And then I
really a
got
hard
got
thing.
back into IT through the Navy and got into contracting, which was great.
Real quick, I gotta ask: do you and Steven have matching blue dresses?
No, we do not.
Oh, you
But
don't?
no, we do not.
Oh,
Not yet. Not yet. Anyways, is that better?
okay. See, as the king, I had to ask, what your queens wear, so I.
Damn.
Oh, I got you now. I
Uh,
got you now. Oh goodness.
no, yeah,
Oh
we've had a lot of artillery on the show. We haven't had too many infantry outside of McFucker. I think he's the only infantryman we've had on up to this point. So
just remember, the king always protects the queen.
damn straight. But we've heard those calls
Look.
over the radio, man. I don't. I'm sorry, man. You guys got into some rough shit, but just so you know, 2-3 when they were up in Fallujah were beating feet right next to the Marine infantry. They were, and the Army infantry. They actually got the golden spur with those guys. So
Yeah. No. It's all good and fun to talk shit, but
yeah, it is.
I have love for all the other MOSs, even though y'all may be pogues.
Hey.
If anyone's a poke here, it'd be me.
Yeah, I
No,
was
no,
gonna
no.
say.
No. It's all of you.
I'm
Yeah.
IT in the Navy, so
No. It's all of you. Personnel other than grunt.
Yep.
Yeah. I will give y'all shit, but it's all love though.
Yeah, it is though. But that's just it. We have to be able to do that because if we can't make fun of each other,
Exactly.
it's no good.
Well, and you see it on some of these pages. Some infantry, some non-infantry. They just can't joke around, and it's like, dude, you got to lighten up, man, or it's gonna be a rough life for you.
Yeah, we are equal opportunity of offenders. We have made fun of anyone, everyone, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force, Marines, just about every MOS.
Well, I'm sorry, Cutter, but you can't consider Coast Guard a real branch now.
But you got to look at what they do.
hey man, they're good. They're good at knocking on doors. Apparently,
Yes, apparently they're Jehovah's Witnesses.
they would make some badass Jehovah's Witnesses.
I saw that. And that
Have you
just
seen the
hyped
videos of them
whole
shooting at
Coast Guard
pirates?
up. My brother was a master arms in the Navy, so I give him a pretty hard time too.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I give
Mess on the shore patrol.
but I can take it too. So I mean,
yeah, we're one of our biggest.
I have my purple Crayola here for after we're done, so I can have my dinner.
One of our biggest memes was actually this. I took somebody's cartoon and I added Cav tankers, and artillery, and this guy's riding a horse, and he looks at him and goes, "Why are you riding a horse like that?" And he goes, "It's a unicorn."
yeah.
He has the Cav symbol on his chest.
But the best one was the Mia Khalifa one.
That has gone viral.
Yeah. I did my part in that. That was a good one. I'll give you all credit for that one.
Yeah, that was something. Oh, well, I'm thinking about it. I don't know how this jumped to be here, but your friend that lost his battle, he was a fellow vet, correct?
Yes, Darby Black. He was a fellow 11 Bravo too.
We have a wall on the page. For anyone out there that has lost anyone, I don't care what it's to, we have a symbol for just about everything.
Okay.
Go put his name on there, add a symbol. The Saturday before Memorial Day, reread the names on that wall every year.
Okay, absolutely.
Eventually, it's going to end up being a 2 or 3 day thing where we're just going to record all year round, and he's just going to have to play on that thing.
Yeah.
But
it's sad that there's that many names, though.
Well, we're taking not just 22, we're taking natural causes, murders, suicides,
It's a really cool thing.
combats, military-related illness, everything.
MIA, everything.
Yep. There's a symbol for almost everything up there.
Absolutely, I'll put his name up there. I actually got a few names to put up there, so I'll definitely do that.
We have a lot of names we still have to add. I still have to add Tillman. I have to add, and some of the great ones we have to add, like Audie Murphy. I have to put his name on there. But
That's
anyone that
really
has
dope.
fallen, So
That's a really cool thing you're doing.
once you serve, you should never be forgotten. And unfortunately, it's happening to a lot of guys. They are being forgotten.
Unfortunately, yeah. The ones I know, I don't let them. I won't let them be forgotten. But you are 100% correct. We are seeing too many forgotten, and it's sad.
If you run into any vets, like your Vietnam friend, we'd love to have him on the air, tell some stories.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we're here for. Record those stories. There's too many stories from the great generations that are being lost. And
Absolutely. I actually have a couple. I don't know if they'll come on, but I have a couple I can think of. It just depends on, if they want to talk about it or not. But yeah.
if they want to write them down and send them to us, we will read them for them.
Yeah.
If that's easier. It's we've offered to do that. We actually offered. I don't know if you listened to Cleanup Crew. Did you listen to that episode by chance?
No, I didn't.
Gary is one of our favorite guests. He got involved with. He was tasked to help clean up the nuclear waste in the South Pacific.
Okay.
After the testing,
interesting.
They lied their ass off to him, and out of 17,000 people, they've been able to find 300 still alive.
My goodness, that's insane.
He's an amazing guy. And we're helping him trying to get the benefits that these guys deserve,
Oh,
but,
yeah, absolutely.
We offered. Gary has a hard time talking because, his throat is jacked up.
Yeah.
And he tried to apologize to us on the air, and we refused to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's we offered to let him write down his stories, and we'd read it for him. He said, "No, I need to tell this because people needed to hear it."
That's badass right there. That put goosebumps on my skin hearing that.
Listen to the episode.
Okay.
You will have some goosebumps. I did the show, and every time I still think about some of the things that he told us, I get Mr. Nipples. That was a chilling episode, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that episode was pretty insane actually.
Yeah, that was oh. So now for tradition, you got to tell us your favorite stupid story from when you were in the service.
Favorite stupid story. Now you're making me remember things. Okay. Let's see. It's gonna take a second because
the stupidest one you can remember. That is.
that's what I'm trying. Man, I don't remember shit, man. I've been blown up too much. Fuck. As far as stupid as what is as bullshit that we dealt with, or just
or funny or
retard.
fun or anything you want to tell us.
Anything insane.
Yeah, anything stupid you want to tell us.
And y'all got to put me on the spot like this too, huh?
Well, yeah, we have to do everybody because that way they don't get a chance to. They
Oh,
don't get a chance to buffer it.
Okay.
See, if our guests listen to our show, they'd know this was coming.
Appreciate it. You got me there.
They can always plan.
Let's see. Well, fuck. See, you put me on. I'm not good on the spot, though.
We'll keep talking. We'll let you think for a minute when we talk.
Yeah, y'all talk amongst yourself.
Whereabouts were you stationed at in Germany?
In Germany, I was at Ray Barracks in Freiburg.
Oh God, Freiburg. I was actually in Gießen.
Okay.
2-3FA.
Yeah, I was at Freiburg in Germany. Bravo Company 136 Infantry. We went to Ramadi. That was fun times. From there, I was at Fort Benning, Georgia. I can't remember the unit name. It was fucking TRADOC. I wasn't there long because I had to get out of there. Teaching fucking brand new butter bars on the fucking Bradley. That was the worst fucking thing I ever did. And then from there, I went to Carson, and I did my other 2 deployments from Carson from 4th ID. Went to Basra, Iraq, and then Kandahar, Afghanistan.
Did you serve with a... Oh, shit, he's a fan of the page. He was in Carson right about the same time you were. Give me half a second here. I'm going to pull up his goddamn name.
He was in 2-4 or 43rd, possibly, but I mean, even though the Army's a small army, we all know it's a big army.
Yeah. Christian McCarthy.
Say again?
Christian McCarthy.
McCarthy sounds familiar.
He's an ugly mofo.
Paul Linky?
Yep.
Possibly. If we're talking about the same dude, possibly.
Smart as hell when it comes to engines.
He was a mechanic?
No, he was infantry.
He was infantry? Possibly, if he was in 2-4.
I'll have to ask him after the show.
It sounds very familiar, but
There's a lot of McCarthys out there.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, there's at least more than one tall and lanky McCarthy. I just can't remember if that was dude's last name or not. My memory is awful, guys. It really is, unfortunately.
No, I get it. All of our memories are screwed up, man.
It's one of the things I do hate, is the memory part. I'm still trying to think of a stupid fucking story for y'all. Well, does it have to be combat related?
No. It can be
Okay.
anything stupid up to and including losing your boots in a fountain because you're so damn drunk you take off your pants all the way back to the barracks. And then gate guards turn you around. You have to go find your shit before they let you in.
I got one in Germany. So I was unfortunately on staff duty this night, but I got to hear all about it when they got back to staff duty because this was my running group. A bunch of us privates that went out and drank. So there was, if you were in Germany, you know K-Town then and how it was blacklisted, right? Yep. Well, that was our place because it was blacklisted. There were no other Joes there.
There were other Joes there.
Well, there were, but not a lot. So, you know the Latin bar in K-Town?
I stuck to different places. Yes, I know what you're talking about, though.
Okay, so across the street was our normal bar, but the night I was on staff duty, apparently they decided to go to the Latin bar. All right, cool. It was 4 of them that night, and I'm not going to say his name. We'll say Private Joe. Private Joe decided to, he saw this girl, and from what I hear, she looked like she was a kind of mid-30s, early 40s female, but cute, you know, and we're all younger. But he saw her and thought she was, cute and wanted to get that. So, cool. He starts working his game on her and everything, and I guess, the other 3 guys played wingman for the night for him. And, cool, whatever. He gets in with her. They start making out. They're having fun. Cool. From what I remember, the other 3 guys were at the bar chilling. Private Joe and his older female were making out. And the friends came up to the other 3 at the bar and said, "Does your friend know?" The other 3 guys being like, "What do you mean, does your friend know?"
Private Joe done got a shock. What he got?
Yeah.
No.
So the friend said to our friends, "Well, Private Joe over there is making out with a dude." And so, our friends being our friends are like, "Well, we're not going to tell him right away. We're not going to tell him right away. Let's let him have a little fun right now because the stories are going to be great." So they went out, smoked a cigarette, and Private Joe ends up coming out to later on to join them on that cigarette. And they decided to tell him at that point that, "Hey, dude, its friends just came up and said, that may not be a she, it may be a he." And Private Joe was dumbfounded. Like, no, it's definitely a girl. It's definitely a female. Nah, fuck that, whatever. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to prove. I'm going to do the package test. All right, go ahead. And so my friends are out there. They come back in just to watch. And so apparently he goes up to the table and he doesn't even sit down to do the package test. He just turns around and walks out. And so they ask him as they're leaving the bar, why did he walk out? Why didn't you do the package test? And he said, "Well, my drunk ass didn't notice the Adam's apple all night." And to this day, Private Joe does not live that down.
Oh, no. That's
Private
so
Joe,
rough.
if you still got contact with Private Joe, he needs to get on the show.
Oh my god, that's so rough, dude.
Oh man, he was. So of course, they're all drunk and they come to me at staff duty. We got to tell you about what Private Joe did, and yeah, so it got put in the staff duty log too. Let's just say that.
Oh,
It's eternally engraved.
Yes. Yes.
damn.
All right.
Good times. Good times.
We're at an hour and 5 minute mark.
I'm
You
going to
guys
tell
wanna
a
go
real
start?
quick story.
All right, go for it.
So we're setting information. I've been in 2-3 for about 3 weeks at this point after everybody's gotten back. And from their deployment, Alphabetary was gone when I got there. And I was standing there and then giving the weekend briefing, right?
Yeah.
And Top's standing up front. He goes, and just so you know, it is a violation of AR blah, blah, blah to allow a woman at the poof to wrap you in saran wrap and take a dump on your chest. I was like, what the hell?
That's pretty specific.
Apparently, somebody in the unit decided to pay a girl at the poofer to wrap his chest in saran wrap and take a dump on him. They'll do it. They don't care. They're getting paid for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he caught some nasty diseases out of it when it rolled down and hit him in the face.
Oh man.
So they had to include that for like a month on the weekend briefings.
Oh my gosh.
Now, we were never informed who it was.
That's not good.
Oh, but he knew. He knew.
But we all knew.
Oh, okay, y'all knew.
The guy with the nasty ass rash on his face is who it was.
Oof.
Oh, that's awful. Oh, that's awful.
All right. Well, I think we've about covered the program, and we've gotten your great story out. So we're going to wrap up. It's there's been a lot of, with the 4th of July just happening, there was an influx in the suicide rate. It went way up. And I know that we all forget, when holidays come around and we get involved with our families and what's going on, but we got to keep checking on our friends because
Absolutely.
there was a spike. And it's hard. So just reach out. The guy that's smiling the most and acts like he's got it all put together, and he might be the one that's hurting the most.
Gonna say something?
Yeah.
Darby, just to kind of piggyback on what you said, Darby, he was one of the strongest people I ever knew and one of the happiest people I ever knew. So, yeah, definitely the ones that you think are the strongest and the happiest. Check on them more than anybody.
The stories we've heard, working this, and it needs to happen. And the stories that Belen gets working with Mission Zero, they're hard for us to hear, but you need to talk to somebody. And somebody out there to listen. Just reach out. If we can't do it at the moment, I know 100 other people that can listen. And that's what they'll do. So reach out if you need to reach out, and reach out to your friends. And if you're hurting and you think that you shouldn't reach out because you're hurting, you'd be amazed how much it will help you to reach out to somebody else to just see if they're okay. Don't drink and drive. Don't play stupid games with the cops. We've had an influx with that too, with guys committing suicide by cop. So don't do that stupid shit. You guys got any other words to put in?
No. Sounds about right.
No.
All right.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you, Brandon, for coming on the show.
Oh yeah,
We
definitely.
greatly appreciate it.
Loved hearing about the program.
So
Absolutely.
we're gonna have to have
message out.
we'll have to have you guys back on the show sometime once things get going a little better.
Absolutely.
So, or maybe a couple of guys that have been through the program, they're about to graduate, have them come on the show and just tell us about their experience with it. How's that sound?
That'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, I'd like that.
Oh, I would like for you guys to reach out to R4, the R4 Alliance, and get your name on that list. It's a wonderful program that's going to help you guys.
R4? Okay.
Yep, R4 Alliance.
All right, I'll write that down.
All right. You all have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey,
You
you
too.
too.
Later.
Later.